Hi, I wanted to share some of my experiences as being a JW. Have a lot of interesting experiences to say the least. I was raised in New York and I grew up not a Jehovah's Witness, but became a Jehovah's Witness at an early age. I started studying with them at age 14, and by the age of 22, which took me a while, but the wild teenage years got to me, but I became a Jehovah's Witness and I had a young son at the time. We were around Bethel, not too far away. I guess we lived about 25 minutes away from there, and the sister who studied with me was a commuter Bethelite, so I had an opportunity to be at Bethel quite a lot. I met people such as George Genghis and a lot of the people who are on the dramas, those in the writing committee. I was given personal tours there. At the beginning, it all seemed very nice, very upbuilding. There was a lot of great people. We had a lot of Bethel elders, interestingly enough, in our congregation at the time, and we had a lot of people who were part of the active community within JW that were part of the Bethel family. So I have a lot of experience, I would say, in not just being a JW, but actually being around the core headquarters of in Brooklyn. One of the things that always piqued my interest was finding about the anointed. I thought it was fascinating. Didn't understand it for the most part. Personally, my experiences come from a long line. I've been around it for about 23 years. I left about 2015, going back on and off. You can call me a PMO, physically in and mentally out. I have been for quite a while, but not just because of my own doing. I give all credit to the fact that I was literally taken out of the organization and directed by Jesus Christ himself. Many people have a difficult time once they leave the organization, maybe even believing that there's a God or Christ. But I have so many experiences, not just myself, but my family members that have just, I have to say, supernatural and miraculous experiences from leaving the organization, as well as on a daily personal life basis, that really show us that Christ is with us. And it's not an anointing per se, as the organization calls it, but it's a calling. And he's calling many of us. And what most people don't realize in the JW organization, and that calling is calling from Christ himself. And it's not structured in the way that the JWs have printed it out on their watchtowers. One of the interesting things about that is that when Christ calls you, there's peace. When you get called or strung into an organization, there's no peace. And a lot of that had to do with being run by a man-made organization or corporation. My personal experience leaving is that I basically got pulled into the back room of a kingdom hall with a circuit overseer and a helper to the governing body. I wasn't in that congregation at that particular time, but they saw me as a threat, even to the point where the helper to the governing body was saying that, "Do you see, she's extremely smart, isn't she?" I guess being someone who actually can think for themselves and has Christ to back them up makes them extremely smart. But for me personally, all of this has shown me that we're not here to be governed by men per se, in the sense that, you know, our daily lives and all the things that we do from day to day should be told to us, from what we wear to if we have facial hair as a man, if our skirts are too short, if we're not dressing properly at the Kingdom Hall, what if we wear a skirt. Personally, I'm on strike from skirts at this point because I refuse to wear a skirt just because I don't have to, and it actually it's not my personal preference. So I've learned a lot. Free will is what we're all here about. There are many things personally and I guess one of my personal experiences, how we helped, who is now my son-in-law to escape from Walk Hill Bethel, and how we were directed by Christ's Spirit to leave, and not in the conventional way that most people would deem by going through the proper measures of the organization. We physically left without telling anyone, which created a big buzz in the organization. And to this day, we're no longer allowed a watchtower property. I find it quite funny because I don't think I'd ever want to step on any of the watchtower properties myself. But for the most part, I don't hold any animosity. I'm not bitter. I find a lot of the experiences that I've learned being a witness, there were some very good moments, and there were also some very stressful moments. I find myself being sick a lot because of the pressures that I was under, but I always wanted to help people. And one of the things that I want to do to help people right now is that I'm trying to put together a fund as well as a place where those who have nowhere to go can actually come to, and when they're in a high control group. I'm looking to have a place that people can turn to when they're kicked out of their house because their family no longer wants to be with them. They're shunned. We have a lot of experience with being shunned. My husband personally was shunned twice, and to this day is considered in the organization still shunned. My son was disfellowshipped as well. I had a father-in-law who was disfellowshipped. My husband comes from a long line of witnesses. Funny enough, his grandma was a Jewish background, and her family disowned her when she became a Jehovah's Witness. And funny enough, while she was a Jehovah's Witness, was disfellowshipped twice. So we have a long line of history with the disfellowshipping process in the organization, to the point where we see the fact how it's so cruel. Myself personally, even though my son was disfellowshipped, I was not really trying to follow the rules. I would continue to talk to him. I would share things with him. I thought, how can someone come back when they're treated so cruelly? And in many instances, I myself, unfortunately, because of being in the organization, have been reproved and things of that nature. Right now, I'm just labeled as a marked apostate. I guess they don't want to completely disfellowship me. I guess they still think they want to have some kind of hold on me. For me personally, any people who see this video that know me personally, I just want to say that I don't hold any animosity. I love you all. I think you have good intentions. I think the fact that you want to help people is a beautiful thing. I myself continue to help people. I do it by means of Christ. I look at the scriptures. I'm very encouraged by it. He takes care of me, blesses me and my family to such an extent I can't even imagine how life would be without having left and having seen the blessings and the love that we've been given. What I'd like to share for the most part is that we love everyone. My goal is to share that love with people in the sense that we want to help people come out of it, to be assisted, whether it's with helping them to get a job, financial aid for school, or anything like that. We're here to help. Me and my family are really concerned about those who are still left there, who are PMOs as well, who are physically and mentally out but don't know how to leave. And so if you have any questions or you want to contact me, I'm going to leave my information down below. I'm going to start this channel. It is called For the Love of Christ. And the reason why I name it so is because being an ex-JW doesn't take me out of the reality that I still love God. I still love Christ. I still love reading the Bible. I still love helping people. So that hasn't left me. And I know that many of you who have become activists are still doing the same, because there's that love for people. We want to help as much as possible, no matter what it may be. So please, when you go down below, if you want to subscribe, great. If not, that's fine. You can just leave your comments. I would love to hear personal experiences as well. I will also be interviewing many of my family members on this YouTube page. We're going to share a lot of these experiences. Me, myself personally, from being sat down with the elders, or the CEO and the helper to the governing body, to some of my experiences with those in the past who have were extremely kind, gentle people in the past, and how I've seen that they've literally stripped those people of the years of service that they have done and sent them out. They call it special pioneering, but I just call it either being laid off, or they just don't want to, take care of the older ones anymore. Personally, I feel extremely sad for them, and it's also something that I'd like to help with people in general. So in the future, we're trying to see how we can come about with helping those who have nowhere to go and who have maybe no family who's willing to take them in. It's a place that will help them to learn how to come from being in a high control environment to help them to be self-sufficient, independent people who can think for themselves. If you choose to assist in any way, if you have any ideas or comments, we would love to hear from you. Me personally, I want to continue helping as much as possible. I guess my goal is to take what I've learned, funny enough, not just from the JWs in certain ways, but what Christ has taught me, that there's mercy, there's forgiveness, there's love. It's not about the letter of the law. It's not about how we perceive people to be. But just the same way as I have children and I know how much I love to be around and the enthusiastic young people, we can see that there's a lot of love, enthusiasm, and courage in these young people, and we want to continue to help them to be the kind of people they want to be. Also, the fact that as parents, or myself grandparents, which I'm very happy to be a grandparent, that we can help our young ones in any way possible to strive to be kind-hearted, loving individuals who want to help in any way possible to be a useful member of society. For me, again, what I'm looking to do is to widen out, in the sense to incorporate as many people as possible with this project, so it can be funded properly, and it can also have the amount of assistance that's needed in order to help. This YouTube page is not for me personally, per se. I'm here to try and get others to understand the seriousness of what's going on in these high control groups, whether it be an XJW or, I don't know, a Mormon, a Scientologist, or any old, group, the Moonies, or anything like that that's still going on around the world. Many people are in dire need of assistance and have no way. And I feel like we can all be part of that universal friendship, family, because that's what Christ would want us to do. We'll share actually some of the nice experiences that we've had, that Christ has given us, and the supernatural ones. Because funny enough, a lot of people who leave sometimes just think that, God is not there, or he doesn't care, but he does. And I found personally that we have been given so many gifts, even though the JWs don't believe in that anymore. We have been given so many spiritual gifts, in the sense that we have been able to see things differently than most people do. We have been given gifts, the ability for things like visions and dreams, because in Joel 2:20-30 it says that during this time that this is what was going to be given, and by being a Jehovah's Witness, they literally stripped us of this. So all the things that have happened, which are extremely of the spiritual, supernatural sense, have happened to us, with many blessings, as well as different trials that have come our way. And I'm going to share, as I go along, a little bit each one of these different types of special events that have occurred to us. I want to let you know that I hope that you'll join us in helping as many as possible to receive the assistance that they need. And then also, I would like for you to share experiences, and if you'd like to come on the channel and you'd like to be interviewed and share your experiences, we're more than happy to have you. We do have a few people that are already lined up, so our next few videos will have a few people, as well as just myself giving some of my personal experiences. I hope to hear from you, and I wish you a blessed day, and may peace be with you.